So AI is really, really good at doing certain things, and I think it's going to get better at doing certain things that sometimes we did as humans, but in terms of sort of taking on that general intelligence, I think we're still a long way off from that. So just how, computers came really good at calculating lots of numbers super quickly, something that humans just couldn't do, AI will be able to do things like ingest and organize vast amounts of data much more quickly and effectively than humans can. But I don't think it's at the point where it's really going to replace humans. It doesn't take too long of pushing one of the AI systems before you start realizing it doesn't have the same understanding that you or I do of the world. So right now I wouldn't consider it a high risk. Other people might disagree with me on that one, but I'm not desperately concerned in staying up at night worrying about it. So one of the things I always like to tell people is that AI is just beginning. It's not like it's happened and that's it, and you're going to get used to what's out there now. We're really at the beginning of a 30 to 40 year cycle of a new technology that is going to profoundly shape the way that we interact with the world. One of the questions I get asked is, well, what is AI? Well, fundamentally, AI is still software, but with a wrinkle. And that wrinkle is that you train or program that AI with a bunch of data. And that brings up a bunch of issues, like where does your data come from? How do you know you can trust it? Is it going to do what you expect it to do? Because these systems are not deterministic. I think another thing that's going on with AI, that's sort of kind of maybe good news right now, is that it is very expensive to run. We've probably heard stories about us consuming lots of energy, lots of water, and that is definitely true. Someone like OpenAI might well be spending well over $1 billion a month just on their energy bill right now. In fact, there was a startup in California that shall remain nameless that got several $100 million, built themselves a fancy server center, and then were kind of shocked when their first energy bill turned up, and it was £13 million for the month. So that's in some ways good news because it means that it's very expensive to actually use it, and that limits the amount of threat that you have right now, but that is not going to remain true over the next 5 years. Other things that AI is going to do is it's going to enable a bunch of new capabilities that you need to be aware of. Some of these are going to be extremely helpful for both fraud detection and for cyber threats, and we're going to talk about hopefully some of those today. But it's also going to enable the bad guys to start doing much more sophisticated attacks. And so the social engineering attacks that we have been seeing over the last 5 to 10 years, they're going to become much more significant because of the fact that you can target and do stuff with AI to actually enhance that cyber attack capability data, and how AI can help you with that data to be able to understand your organization better and where the risks might be, both from a cyber and from a fraud perspective.
Thank you, Oliver. And Zygmunt, can I come to you next to talk?
I would argue we're already there. The technologies that are happening right now, you've probably heard about the famous voice cloning argument that happened with OpenAI and an actress who was unhappy about her voice basically being cloned. But that's going to become much more common. We can already clone voices fairly easily. And so organizations, certainly in the US, and not so much in the UK, but a lot of organizations in the US are relying on voice prints for authentication. I think that technology looks pretty dubious to me right now, and people need to start thinking about that again. Other places where people also need to think about Gen AI are very sophisticated attacks against important members of the organization. So with generative AI, you can already build really elaborate data sets out of bunches and bunches of unstructured data. So imagine you've got a criminal out there, and they start acquiring lots of data on the dark web, they start hooking it together, they figure out who they want to target inside an organization, and they have a really great profile, not just of that person, but also the relationships that person has with people in that organization, and they're going to start using that now to start manipulating people to do that. And it's worth it because, as I said, it's expensive, but if you're really targeted and doing that kind of an operation, it's probably going to be cost effective for you to do it. internally, Gen AI is really good at, and even though it's got the name Gen AI, I should explain, it's got lots of other purposes coming to generating videos and school reports. It actually does useful stuff. But one of the things it's really good at doing is allowing you to analyze and look at your data from a very holistic point of view and start to understand relationships inside your data. So we've already got a group out there that is using Gen AI to understand anti-money laundering, or we've got people helping to understand their cybersecurity policies and how well are those cybersecurity policies really covering the risk profiles that they're supposed to be doing. So you can also use it in that particular capacity. So Gen AI is already here, people are already using it for attacks, and you can already start using it internally to help defend against those attacks.
Yeah.
Maybe one day it will make it there. One of the things I think that's going to happen, I'd like to kind of expand this question out slightly. So Gen AI and AI in general has a bunch of applications that can really help you defend inside the organization. So one area where people can start using that is for their threat hunters. If you're looking at network intrusions, that kind of thing, they can actually use it to help analyze that massive volume of data that's coming in and start picking out better insights than what they would be getting if they were just trying to do everything manually. So that's one area where you can already do things very quickly. Another area where you can use AI is for fraud detection. It's already getting used in that area. Some of the older techniques are very effective at doing that. But Gen AI allows you to take sort of a more global, slower approach, but also look for trends or potential possibilities that might be going wrong inside your organization. And then the other thing you can also use it for is to better understand if you're developing some kind of a reliance on a single source supplier, or those kind of things where you can look for vulnerabilities where you could have a single cut that basically knocks your service offline. So that's one aspect of it. There's a second aspect that also financial institutions, I think, are going to have to deal with, which is there's going to be enormous pressure to bring Gen AI into the financial services for customer relationship management and for the customer experience. And that, in some ways, is great. It can improve the customer relationship, it can improve the services, it can reduce cost, which is why there's going to be pressure. But you need to understand what's in your models. So I'm just going to give you one very simple example. We're going to leave the model here nameless for its defense, but I was evaluating a large language model, and what I discovered, I was trying to see if I could break it, and I did, and it got it to spit out a bunch of information about an affair between two employees at Enron. Now, if you guys remember Enron, big institution, went bust in spectacular fashion, complete fraud going on. So how did this affair that was happening in the office end up in this large language model? Well, the answer is all these emails were submitted into a court case in the US. Someone had scraped them, and they've all gone into that model and have been trained on it. You're going to have to deal with the fact that when you start deploying these large language models for that customer relationship, that you need to know where that data came from, was that data clean, what are the implications, how do you secure it, how do you prevent people from what we call jailbreaking is the term we use right now in the industry, where you basically get the model to spit out embarrassing information. All that also needs to be considered because you're going to have this whole new attack surface that just doesn't exist today. But I think it is going to come to the industry, and people are going to have to start figuring out how they want to deal with that.
Thank you.
So AI is really, really good at doing certain things, and I think it's going to get better at doing certain things that sometimes we did as humans, but in terms of sort of taking on that general intelligence, I think we're still a long way off from that. So just how, computers came really good at calculating lots of numbers super quickly, something that humans just couldn't do, AI will be able to do things like ingest and organize vast amounts of data much more quickly and effectively than humans can. But I don't think it's at the point where it's really going to replace humans. It doesn't take too long of pushing one of the AI systems before you start realizing it doesn't have the same understanding that you or I do of the world. So right now I wouldn't consider it a high risk. Other people might disagree with me on that one, but I'm not desperately concerned in staying up at night worrying about